Hello and welcome to Classic Country Headlines on the Stories of Country Music YouTube channel. We have some sad news today. Tom T. Hall, the storyteller, died yesterday at the age of 85. We'll look at an article from the Tennessean to carry us through some of the details. Now, as I said, Tom T. Hall, known as the storyteller of country music, died yesterday at the age of 85. The article in the Tennessean says Tom T. Hall, a country music Hall of Fame artist who wrote unassuming songs with distinct depth, died Friday at age 85. He died at his home in Franklin, Tennessee, according to his son, Dean Hall. Now, of course, he wrote many songs, but the one that he gained the most notoriety from at the beginning of his career was Harper Valley PTA, and he was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame in 2008. His songbook of country hits included Old Dogs, Children, and Watermelon Wine, which is my favorite Tom T. Hall song, A Week in a Country Jail, I Love, and of course, as they say, the list goes on and on and on. Many knew him as the Storyteller, a fitting nickname given to Hall by another country great, Tex Ritter, and that's how he got his nickname, the Storyteller. I'll scroll on down. There's all kinds of details in here that we can go back and read. But I did want to get over to the Country Music Hall of Fame and see what they said about Tom T. Hall, of course, a member of the Country Music Hall of Fame. And this is a quote by the Country Music Hall of Fame CEO, Kyle Young. Tom T. Hall's masterworks vary in plot, tone, and tempo. They are bound by his ceaseless and unyielding empathy for the triumphs and losses of others. He wrote without judgment or anger, offering a rhyming journalism of the heart that sets his compositions apart from any other writer. He was a storyteller, a philosopher, a whiskey maker, a novelist, a poet, a painter, a benefactor, a letter writer, gift giver, and gentleman farmer, and many more things. I like this quote right here at the end. My bet is that we won't see the likes of him again, but if we do, I'll be the first in line for tickets to the show. Of course, Tom T. Hall passed away yesterday at the age of 85. Now, when I started getting interested in classic country, I picked up several biographies. And one of the first I picked up was The Storyteller's Nashville by Tom T. Hall. It's his autobiography. And is a great read. I highly recommend it if you want to go back and learn more about Tom T. Hall and his life. He is very, transparent, open and vulnerable about how he grew up and some of the battles he went through, not only during childhood, but he battled depression as he got older as well. He wrestled with that for a while. And he talks about Ms. Dixie, his wonderful wife, who passed away several years ago as well. There's out of this book, there's dozens of stories about Tom T. Hall. I just want to share three really quickly as far as the ones I remember about Tom T. Hall. Now, he was obviously known as Tom Hall when he came to Nashville. He came to write. He did not come to sing. He did not come to be an artist. In fact, he had to get taught several times into becoming an artist. The reason that they wanted him to become an artist, and it was really the people who were in charge of his writing, who he had signed a writing contract with, was he wrote so many of his songs that were about him and so vulnerable and open about him. And there weren't a lot of artists that were wanting to record songs about Tom T. Hall. So he had this cachet, this big old collection of songs that were great songs that they were having a hard time getting recorded. And eventually they just told Tom that, hey, you really need to go and record and sing your own songs. And like I said, Tom was hesitant to do that. He really didn't want to. He liked his life as a writer, but he eventually got talked into it. And he was known as Tom Hall, and they told him that's not going to work. It's too common. You're going to have to come up with some kind of stage name. And that's where the T came from. He didn't become known as Tom T. Hall until he started his actual solo career and started singing his own songs, which, as we all know, did very, very well. And between his writing and singing earned him entry into the Country Music Hall of Fame and Songwriters Hall of Fame, etc. Now, some of you may not know that after he retired from country music, of course, he kept writing, and he wrote this particular song called Little Bitty, and he recorded it on one of his albums as well. Well, of course, Alan Jackson heard that song, liked the song so much, he recorded it and took it to #1. So if you don't know that, Tom T. Hall was the writer of Alan Jackson's #1 hit, Little Bitty. And of course, I have mentioned his wife, Ms. Dixie. Ms. Dixie was also a writer and had a great say in the songs that Tom recorded on his albums. And I always gave him feedback as far as how much she liked his songs, basically. So I always kind of gave feedback. And when she started giving great advice that started turning out well, Tom made it a point to make sure to listen to what she had to say. So when Tom retired, he just didn't retire from country music and do nothing. No, he didn't. He got into bluegrass. He and Ms. Dixie both started writing bluegrass music. And this is so interesting right here. I had no idea. They were such a dynamic duo as songwriters in bluegrass that here's the awards they won as Bluegrass Songwriter of the Year. They won it in 2002, 2003, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 2011, 2013, 2014, and 2015. Now, I lost count, but that seems like it's about 9 to 10 between 2002 and 2015. Bluegrass Songwriter of the Year awards won by Tom T. Hall and his wife, Ms. Dixie. So he just had a fabulous career from the very minute he walked into Nashville until he went into a solo career, until he retired. And he did not hang on to country music. When he was done, he was done. And he cut his career. He ended his career right there. I think he said in this book one time, he said he's had 2 careers, one in country and one in bluegrass. He said the one in country was much more profitable, but they were both equally enjoyable. So that's Tom T. Hall. The storyteller of country music has passed at the age of 85. And I just wanted to let y'all know that, and let you know, if you get a chance and you haven't, be sure to pick up his book, read his autobiography. It's a great read. And there's really not a good way to end a video like this, but he left such a legacy through his songs, and they'll be remembered for years and years to come. Tom T. Hall.